Back at another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G. Today we're going to react to the controversial story of Me Against the World. This is some more Tupac content we're going to react to. If y'all want to check out my other Pac content, I have some other Pac content on the channel. If you guys don't know, Pac's my favorite artist, favorite rapper of all, well, no, not favorite artist of all time, but favorite rapper of all time. Me Against the World is probably, I don't know where I would rank it in my favorite Pac album, but All Eyes on Me is definitely my favorite one. So yeah, we're gonna react to the controversial story of Me Against the World. Let's get right into the video.
I want to buy your house.
Alright, advertisement to start off, talking about buying houses and stuff.
Probably not the image he wants to project, but Tupac Shakur, a nominee for an NAACP Image Award, is in trouble again. The rap singer and actor was arrested for allegedly helping a friend, a woman, at the Parker Meridian Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Shakur is in New York filming a new movie entitled Above the Rim.
I look guilty.
On January 12th, he's expected to be in an Atlanta courtroom for allegedly slapping a fan. On January 25th, there's a hearing in Texas involving a state trooper who was shot by a man listening to Tupac Shakur's lyrics. And Tupac Shakur himself has been accused of two police officers in Atlanta.
He's keeping every police department in the country busy.
The night he was in the lobby of Quad Studios on November 30th, 1994, a hotspot for rap artists at the time. That's Sean Diddy Combs outside as police arrived on scene.
Please don't bring that dude's name up. I don't want to hear that guy's name. Let's just hear about Tupac, because that's where I came here to hear about.
Nah, when I beat up the directors to Menace to Society, let me tell the whole world. All right, tell me how you did with that. These are some punk slump, you know what I'm saying? You'll have a chance to come here and rebuttal. No, they won't. They better come now. Check this out. They fired me, but did it in a roundabout punk snitch way. So I caught them on the streets and beat they behinds. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I just want to say, Jazz, that as far as the remorse, I have a great deal of remorse. As far as I want you to treat me different, I don't want that. I just want the chance to make right from all the bad things that I got. You know, I got a lot of things against me. I got a lot of people that look up to me, and I don't want the last place for them to see me is in jail.
So it kind of felt like a video with like different clips put together at first, but I think this is like a little documentary. So let's get into this. Album backstory.
The year is 1995.
Oh, shed so many tears. Hold on.
The year is 1995. Tupac is serving a prison sentence in Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, after being found guilty of something I'm not sure that I can even say on YouTube, but if you know, you know. The verdict is quite controversial given the facts of the case. I'm not here to break down the case as a whole and give my thoughts on it. Despite being found guilty, Tupac proclaimed his innocence.
How am I going to forcibly do anything to a girl after she did it to me consensually? And
if you guys haven't watched All Eyes on Me, they kind of like got into, you know, this time period, you know, leading up. I already know the backstory with Me Against the World, the album. You know, he dropped this while he was incarcerated with this allegation with what he was going through at the time. He had dropped this album, Me Against the World, around that time. Especially with Quad Studios and that situation, it's just a lot.
And that's not something I'm making up. That's what they said. They said that. The girl came to court and said she did this, she did that. She called my hotel. It was good. She said that, not me. Now, why am I going to force her? I mean, this is common sense. But no matter what happens, innocent or guilty, my life is ruined. Because when they say, whatever they say in this verdict, y'all not going to make it front page news. It won't be bigger, no matter what. All that you want to hear is that he's guilty, he's in jail, the reign of terror is over, the outlaw's gone. That's what they want to do. So I'm starting to think I don't know which story
I think this interview was on the movie too. It's just they had cut some parts out.
to read. I don't know if this is, about, black and white and loud and quiet, or is it about me and this girl? Because if it's about me and this girl, come on, we shouldn't even be here.
Let's rewind back to the beginning of 1994. Tupac is coming off of the success that he had in 1993 with the release of his sophomore album, Strictly For My, which went gold by the end of the year. The album...
Oh yeah. Okay, so here we go. His albums are Tupacalypse Now. The second one, which is Strictly For My, You Know What. Third, I think is what? Me Against the World. Then it's All Eyes on Me. And then Kill Illuminati. I could be wrong. I think I'm out of order, but I think I named them all right.
Had two big singles, which were I Get Around and Keep Your Head Up. I Get Around peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100.
I Get Around, good song. Let me stop talking.
While Keep Your Head Up peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Both of these songs went gold by the end of 1993. He also co-starred in the classic movie Poetic Justice this year by portraying the character Lucky. As an entertainer, Tupac had a pretty successful year to say the least. He had a gold-selling album, 2 gold-selling singles, and a classic movie under his belt. While
He definitely made a lot of contributions. That's what I'm saying. That's why he's the greatest rapper of all time. But I'm not going to say that's why. I feel like his music as a rapper of all time, if I had to pick an artist, it'd be him. Before any other lyrical rapper, he was like the first original. But there's Eric B. Rakim. Those are like the first pioneers of rap. They were lyrical, but I feel like best lyrical rapper is Pac. That's 90s, so.
Tupac had success this year. This would also be the year that his life took a turn for the worst. At the beginning of the year, he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a limo driver in LA, and he was also arrested for allegedly swinging a bat at a rapper in Michigan. At some point in 1993, Tupac beat up Allen Hughes, who co-directed the movie Menace to Society, which Tupac was initially supposed to be in. In late 1993,
He was supposed to be in that movie.
Tupac was arrested after trying to stop 2 off-duty cops from harassing a black man in Atlanta, Georgia. One of the cops pulled out a weapon, so Tupac fired in self-defense. This case was thrown out after it was found that the officers were intoxicated, lied about who the aggressor of the situation was, and the fact...
If you guys didn't see the movie, All Eyes on Me, go check it out. They have this in the movie.
That they were carrying weapons that were stolen from a police evidence locker. And then, of course, the Ayanna Jackson case that happened in late 1993 as well. In 1994, Tupac had to deal with the fallout of some of his legal troubles from 1993.
Yeah, this was the time period around where he was going through a lot of legal troubles.
With Tupac serving time in jail. I know that he did a little skid bid for what happened with Allen Hughes. During this very chaotic time in Tupac's life, he hit the studio to record music and vent his thoughts. He was in and out of court during the day while hitting the studio at night recording music for his upcoming projects. Tupac also had to film for an upcoming movie as well. At the top of...
Can't forget, he did a lot of movies, a lot of movie roles. Above the Rim, Poetic Justice, what's that, Gang Related? That was like, I think before he passed, or I think they dropped that after he passed. He was in Juice. He was in plenty of movies.
1994, the movie Above the Rim was released with Tupac co-starring as the character Birdie. In addition to co-starring, Tupac provided music for the legendary soundtrack.
They'll never take me alive. I'm getting high with my 4-5 cocked on these suckers, time to die, even as a youngster.
Later on, in September of 1994, Tupac released Thug Life Volume 1 with his group Thug Life.
I started young, kicking dust, man. Living rough, you watch your mouth around my mama, you couldn't cuss, man.
Just 2 months after the release of Thug Life Volume 1, Tupac's life would forever change. In November of 1994, Tupac was infamously shot at Quad Studios in New York City, New York, while he was on his way to do a song with an artist named Lil Sean. Pac was shot.
This was the first time he's ever got into an actual situation with getting hit, because the second time is what put him in, when he was gone, rest in peace. That was the second time. That was Las Vegas. This was the first time, and this was 5 times. But you gotta think about it. This man survived this, bro. It's not easy to survive something like this.
5 times in the lobby of the studio after being robbed.
But we all know the situation. He didn't want to give up his jewelry. He didn't have to give it up because that's what he felt. He didn't have to. They was trying to rob him. He didn't want to give it up. But that's just how Pac felt. He stood up for what he stood up for his rights. He stood up for what he fought for. He stood up for everything. He didn't care.
Of $40,000 worth of jewelry. He ultimately survived his injuries, but he was never the same after this incident. He suffered from PTSD and experienced paranoia. He would wake up screaming in cold sweats after having nightmares of the robbers coming back to finish the job.
Yep, and that was shown in the movie, and it was shown in I think it was shown in the other one, the Netflix one, where they did the Unsolved one. Yeah, he didn't want to be up in there because Biggie was trying to visit, and he was in. And also, I gotta remember, Pac is an activist too, so he literally fights for his words is powerful, and he'll fight for anything. He doesn't back down.
These nightmares and paranoia led to Tupac having to switch hospitals even after having the Fruit of Islam protect him. Against the doctor's advice, he left Bellevue Hospital Center and transferred to Metropolitan Hospital Center. Even after transferring, Tupac still got phone calls about the Quad Studio incident. In December of 1994, while Tupac was still freshly recovering from his injuries, he was convicted of charges stemming from the Ayanna Jackson case. Tupac wasn't in the courtroom as the verdict was being read due to still being in the hospital. He wouldn't be sentenced until February of 1995, when it was decided that he would face between 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. Just weeks after Tupac was convicted, the first single, Dear Mama, for his 3rd studio album was released. It peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. As of 2021, this song is triple platinum.
We have an ad. You're gonna do this in the middle of a song?
The very next month in March, Me Against the World was released. It topped the Billboard 200, selling over 240,000 copies in its first week, and went
200,000 copies in its first week is impressive around that time period in the 90s.
Double platinum by the end of the year. Upon accomplishing this feat, Tupac became the first artist ever to have a #1 album while serving a prison sentence. Me Against the World was a highly requested video that you guys wanted me to break down, and I figured why not save it for my birthday, which is hopefully the day that I'm dropping this. I don't normally drop videos on Saturdays, but I always try to drop something special on my birthday for you guys. But the taste of success for Tupac was bittersweet due to the situation that Tupac was in. He had to sit in a prison cell for several months before he could be on the outside again. A haunting fact about this album is that Tupac spoke.
Is 5'11" really tall? Because 5'11", it doesn't seem short, but when you look at Pac, he looks short. But 5'11" doesn't seem so short to me, because I'm short, and I'm not 5'11". Let's see. That's his mugshot. Okay. Um, Date of birth 71. Okay.
A lot of the things into existence regarding this album. Tupac was going through a lot with his legal issues and controversies, like when he spat at news reporters in 1994. But on Me Against the World, Tupac raps about getting shot and going to jail. He rapped about this before the Quad Studio incident and before he was convicted. After the Quad Studio incident, he was in the hospital, so he couldn't record. A song like Death Around the Corner speaks volumes because Tupac was probably paranoid while making the track, but not to the level as he was after he was shot. Multiple different track lists that Tupac made are available to see online, which have different sequencing and or songs that did not make the cut. For example, the song Hard For Her was initially planned for the album.
I ain't got no time. I gotta keep mine. I keep my mind on my loop. I'ma shoot every time.
Okay, so I'm guessing some songs were scrapped for the album and he changed some of the songs around.
There's a whole backstory to this which involves Death Row Records, but Snoop Dogg was penciled in to feature on it, but this song did not end up making the cut. Years later in 1997, another version of the song called Life So Hard appeared on the soundtrack to the movie Gang Related. Out on Bail is another song that was penciled in for this album. I've seen that originally it was meant for the Thug Life album, but the song was deemed to be too controversial.
I'm stuck in jail. The DA trying to burn me. I'll be out on bail. If I had a good attorney, wanna label me a criminal.
Just like Hard For Her, a reworked version of Out on Bail dropped years later in 2004 on Tupac's posthumous album Loyal to the Game. The last song that
Well, I'm glad they were able to, fit in some songs that were heard or unheard and, were scrapped and were able to be put into posthumous albums and later on work of his.
wanted to mention is Pain, which Tupac at some point wanted the song on the album, but it did not make the cut. The album starts off with the intro, which consists of news reports of the controversies that affected Tupac's life leading up to the release of Me Against the World. This really set the tone for the album, and it perfectly fades into the following track, If I Die Tonight. Now, like I said in the first part, when talking about this album, Tupac said that he made it before the Quad Studio shooting and before he got locked up. He admitted to prophesizing these things happening to him by speaking it into existence. Kinda like how Tupac constantly rapped about dying, and he ended up dying violently at the young age of 25. Literally a year after he released this song, If I Die Tonight. The thing is that Tupac did not fear death, which is evident by the intro of the song, which is done by Tupac's stepbrother, Mo Preem. He says that a coward dies 1,000 deaths, while a soldier dies but once. This is an allusion to Shakespeare, who served as a major influence to Tupac. Tupac always referred
He always talks about Shakespeare and Mozart and all this stuff.
to himself as a soldier, as he was not afraid to die. This song perfectly fades into the title track of the album Me Against the World, featuring Dramacidal, who later went on to become The Outlaws. When speaking about the album, Tupac called it deep and reflective. He compared it to a blues record detailing all his fears and what kept him up at night. People thought that he was living well and doing good, but this was not the case at all. He poured out his emotions on this album and his mindset on why he thought it was truly him against the entire...
Yeah, this album, I can agree. He does dive in deeper because this is his sophomore studio album, so this is his second one. This was his second one, so therefore he was able to dive into more of his personal experiences and more into what's going on in the world, how he feels, people coming after him being an activist, trying to change things, politics. You know, he just dives into this is the world that we live in, but around that time period.
Higher world. On the title track in particular, Tupac also raps about injustices in the black community and how fame may have changed him. So Many Tears is next, and this ended up becoming
Underrated song too. So many, too many, whatever it's called. So Many Tears. Yeah, I think I said it the first time right. But yeah, underrated song. Nice beat. Nice lyrics. I know the lyrics by heart. Yeah, let's get to it.
the second single for the album. It peaked at number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100. On this track, Tupac details how many tears that he has shed over the years, from losing close friends to the troubles that
lyrics are real deep on this song.
Date back to his childhood. This is one of the tracks where Tupac refers to being in jail, which he wasn't when this song was recorded. And an OG remix version of the song does exist.
Inside my mind, couldn't find a place to rest until I got that thug life tatted on my chest. Tell me, can you feel me?
Prior to doing this video, I never heard this version before, and in all honesty, I think this version gives the official one a run for its money. Both are really good, but I'm not gonna lie, I think that I'm liking the beat for the OG remix a little more. Aside from the beat being different, another difference is that Stretch, Tupac's once close friend and member of his group Thug Life, originally featured on the track.
Another ad. We'll just, yeah. Okay, hold on.
Originally featured on the track.
Perpetrators getting shot down. We suffer through the years. Just so many tears pouring out respect for the homies when we crack beers.
When So Many Tears was officially released, Stretch's verse got scrapped due to Stretch and Tupac having a fallout after the Quad Studio incident in late 1994. Honestly, I don't think that he was needed on the song though. I think that Tupac did just fine by himself. Temptations is next, and this would be the third and last single for the album. It peaked at number 68 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Tell me, baby, are you lonely? Don't want to rush out and help you if you only let me touch it.
This track was produced by Easy Mo Bee, who also produced If I Die Tonight on this album. When speaking about this song, Easy said that he played the beat for Tupac while he was filming for the movie Above the Rim. Speaking of Easy Mo Bee, I feel like this is the perfect time to bring up
I don't think Pac is really a bad actor. I think he's decent. He's not that bad of an actor.
His deeper history involving Me Against the World. This is because Tupac and Biggie shared a mutual producer, which happened to be Easy. This is important because it's believed that Biggie was heavily influenced by Me Against the World. This is something that Tupac believed himself and spoke on during an interview with Sway in 1996.
So all of a sudden he changed from being listen to Party and Bullshit, listen to his style. He changed from that to Big Papa because of me. He had my album Me Against the World was the second one. He had the first one. I changed everything because Ready to Die came out and it sounded like my album. All my
Hold on. So he did Tupacalypse Now, then he dropped that. So he's saying Biggie's first album sound like his album? Pac's album? Wow, I don't know.
My album was about, dealing with death. And then he came out Ready to Die and I had to switch it. Wow. That's why it was less East Coast rap, East Coast beats, because Biggie had just took my shit.
So, as you heard from Tupac's mouth, he let Biggie listen to Me Against the World while they were friends. Keep in mind, Tupac...
I don't even think I knew that Pac played him Me Against the World when they were friends. And so that means he's been working on that album since they became friends, like when Biggie started. Because, Pac, he released, what's the name? No, Me Against the World is not his sophomore album. Me Against the World is his third album. So I'm guessing he's trying to say that his second album, Strictly 4, that was probably what Ready to Die sound like. Or no, Ready to Die, he meant that album sound like the Me Against the World. I don't know. Either or. Y'all correct me in the comments.
Started recording for the album all the way back in 1993. Just a year later, in 1994, Biggie released his debut album, Ready to Die. Easy Mo B has spoken about this situation
Yes, Grandma.
and said that Biggie once told him that
Okay,
he heard
it's only
the song
10.
Temptations and If I Die Tonight. This is, of course, before they were officially released. Biggie told Easy Mo B that he could not understand why he didn't give these beats to him instead. Easy said that Biggie was just messing around and that Pac and Biggie were still friends at this time. Some people don't believe that Biggie was kidding, but this is straight what Easy Mo B said out of his own mouth. This fades into the following song, Why Ends. In the intro, Tupac dedicated the song to Robert Yummy Sandifer. For those who don't know, Yummy gained national attention in the mid-90s after his violent death at the age of 11. He was taken out by members within his own gang due to fear of him becoming a snitch and cooperating with police by exposing
Now, I did not hear about this or no. It's just a lot of history behind all of this.
the various crimes that they committed. The story of Yummy moved Tupac so much to the point that he dedicated the song to him. It goes even further, with there being a picture of Yummy in the background of one of Tupac's prison interviews in 1995. There's also stories of Tupac getting into it with members of Yummy's gang at his concert in Chicago. So I'm rapping to these dudes that just killed this kid, and they all screaming out Thug Life. I felt bad, like they got it twisted, so I started cursing them dudes out. Y'all dudes cowards, y'all killed that kid. Y'all dudes is punks. I hate all you dudes. Them dudes start throwing stuff. We had a shootout in the stadium. It was tough, man. The whole gang tore up the whole neighborhood. Then I started getting letters from that area with all the mothers. The girls was like, thank you for doing that, cause everybody's scared of these dudes. That's what I wanna do. If these gang dudes ain't gonna get
Hey, that's one thing about Pac, man. People be like, oh, he ain't tough, oh, he ain't hard. It's not even just about that. It's just like, you don't gotta prove nothing, but if you, I mean, he did kind of like, he just wasn't scared to express himself. You gotta get that, straightforward. He was just trying to express himself, whether it sounded like he was trying to be big, bad, arrogant, or any of that. He was just really trying to express himself because he was always known for that. He was an activist. I mean, he spread his message through his music, the community. He was talking about stuff that was going on in the world. So it's like he stood for everything he talked about. He stood for that. Whether even if it was against having war and problems with people.
straight, then I want to take them out of the game. Cause if they don't, it's gonna make it tougher on us. Heavy in the Game is the following track, and it features Lady Levi, Richie Rich, and Ebony Foster.
Now I cannot explain how this game laced. Plus with this fame, I got enemies do anything to break me.
Not counting singers, Richie Rich is the only rapper outside of the Outlaws that's not sampled that appears on the Me Against the World album. I think that it says a lot about the relationship that Bay Area rapper Richie Rich and Tupac had. Tupac cut a lot of people off after the Quad Studio incident, and as I mentioned earlier, took people off of songs after that. Richie Rich remained and had a close relationship with Tupac until his death. Lord Knows is the 8th track on the album, and it has production credits from Brian G. When speaking about the song, he said that it was originally an interlude, but Tupac wanted the beat to be longer so he could flesh it out into a full song. Brian did exactly what Tupac asked of him, and it led to the song that we have today. By far the biggest song on the album, and one of Tupac's biggest songs ever, is Dear Mama.
Dear Mom, I'm sorry, y'all. That's the saddest song in the world. Everybody because where you tell your mama business? Chris Tucker got a joke. You be like, where you tell your mama business? But it's just a love song.
Is it the saddest song in the world? I don't know. There's a lot of songs made.
To my mama. Right. Dear Mama, went #1, thank everybody, platinum, thank you. I went double platinum, thank you, thank you, thank you. Master T gave me the beat, you know, like DJ. He gave me the beat and I wrote it in the bathroom on the toilet, like on one of them early morning sit-down sessions. I just wrote it down and it came out like tears, you know? And right after I wrote it, I called my mom and I rapped it to her over the phone, like live. She was like crying. I was like, that's a hit. That's something. Yeah, I felt it all. I mean, the lyrics, if you listen to Dear Mama, the lyrics not tricky. It's not, it's just plain to the point because I wanted people to feel me. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be an emotional thing.
The song is about the highs and lows of the relationship that Tupac had with his mother throughout his life. The song was produced by Tony Bizzarro. In an interview, he said that Tupac sourced the sample for Dear Mama, which is the song In All My Wildest Dreams by Joe Sample.
Advertisement. Yeah, I heard the sample. That was I figured it was a sample because you know a lot of music back then, you know, samples. I'm pretty sure Pac sampled a lot of music too. So.
In 2010, Dear Mama was inducted into the Library of Congress Recording Registry. This registry is supposed to preserve culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant works. Upon being inducted, the song became the third hip-hop song ever to accomplish this feat. The first two were Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy and The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. When Dear Mama was honored by the Library of Congress, Tupac's mother Afeni said that they could have chosen any song that Tupac had done, but she was honored that they chose Dear Mama. The song was relatable to a lot of mothers out there, which adds to its...
That's probably because he's the freaking GOAT, man. There's no other better rapper. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about all time. Like, come on. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. No one can think of that. Like, come on, bro. Around his time period, he was the most creative in that field, being lyrical, talking about what's going on in the world. When it comes to storytelling, that's probably Biggie, but Pac, lyrical, impactful, message, all of that.
Significance. It Ain't Easy is the 10th track on the album, and on this track, Tupac literally speaks his incarceration into existence. Tupac referenced this song in an interview while he was locked up and said that he spoke things to existence down to the part that the judge would not let him out on bail initially. Can You Get Away follows this, and this song is reportedly about Lisa Left Eye Lopez. At the time, she was in a relationship with NFL player Andre Rison.
I think that was they showed that in the TLC biopic too.
Said that their relationship was very toxic and abusive. If the song is indeed about Left Eye, then this would explain the title, because in the song, Tupac is asking the woman if she could get away for lunch even though she has a man. He also questions what's wrong with her eye and why does she have glasses on, which we all know what that implies and alludes to. Tupac and Left Eye had a very interesting relationship, to say the least. Though the two were seemingly attracted to each other, they both vowed to never sleep with each other because it would alter
I think I did hear that they had some type of friendship or something.
their friendship. This isn't the only song that's said to be dedicated to Lisa, because the song Heaven Ain't Hard to Find on All Eyes on Me is another song that's rumored to be about her as well. A fact about this song is that Tupac originally wanted it to be the second single for the album. This ended up not happening as So Many Tears took its place. Old School is the 12th track on the album, and it came about after Tupac heard the brand Nubian song Dedication. It's dedicated to those who paved the way before them. Tupac liked the song and wanted to sample it, which birthed the song Old School. After this comes the final 3 songs on the album, which starts with F the World. This was produced by Shock G, and reportedly the name of the song is said to be the initial title for Me Against the World. This is exactly how Tupac was feeling at the time, but the name was changed to be less vulgar and offensive. In the song, Tupac goes off about everything that was happening in his life at the time. Mo ZMD, who did production on Me Against the World, had this to say about the situation. Really, his thought process when he talked to me about the album, it wasn't called Me Against the World at first. I think it was called F the World. He was just feeling angry about all the stuff that was happening to him, and he really just talked about dying. And
I mean, either or, it still would have been a good title. But if you want to be like something to sound more presentable, I guess Me Against the World would sound better.
knowing that he was going to die and he needed to get all this truth out before it happened. He felt like people were coming for him and he was just uneasy about either the government, people from the street, you know.
It's like he already knew it was going to happen. That's crazy because that album dropped while he was incarcerated. If he's saying that people was coming for him and all the allegations that he was going against, and he had to go and he was incarcerated. So pretty much if he had that album already done and he was picturing all that and saying all that stuff in the album, and then the album drops while he's incarcerated, it's like he pictured it.
Was getting it from all kinds of ways. So he wanted to really portray his anger at what was going on. This is exactly what Tupac expresses on the following track, which is Death Around the Corner. As the title of the song says, Tupac felt that death was only around the corner for him. This song is a continuation of Tupac's paranoia and mind state throughout the making of this album. Finally, the last track on the album is Outlaw, which features Dramacidal, which, as I said earlier, will
Man has a snake around his neck. Y'all see that?
on to be known as The Outlaws. This song was produced by Mo ZMD. In an interview, he talked about the 11-year-old on the intro of the song who went by the name of Ra Ra. This is a kid that Tupac knew from New York who used to be down with him.
Keeping it real, nigga, or what?
Keeping it real.
How old are you, nigga?
I'm 11.
Cause all I see is murder.
Ra Ra's mom took issue with him being on the song, which led her to sue Mo, but he informed her that he had nothing to do with his inclusion to the song. Also, when talking about the song, Mo said that he sent a demo of some songs for Tupac to listen to. Tupac liked most of the tracks, but one really stood out to him. This was what went on to become Outlaw. Mo left that track on the demo by accident because it was an R&B track, but Tupac told him that it was a rap track now, and that is how the song was made. And just like that, the album concludes. If you made it to the end and are interested in the continuation of the story after Tupac got out of prison, I have a whole video about his All Eyez on Me album. Definitely give that a watch because I discussed.
Alright, that was the controversial story of Me Against the World. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, Uriah out.